All right, I want to welcome everybody to this training. We're going to be talking about tonight we're going to be talking about persuasion, hitting a grand slam, effectively using persuasion in your sales message. Learn the skills to simply get others to agree with your opinions and come over to your side. Basically, get what you want and when you want it. One of the things you need to understand, it's not about creating hypey sales copy. You need to create hype-free messages. Hype does not sell. To a certain degree, you're going to be using hype, but it's not all about just creating this sales copy that is just so full of hype that it just drives people absolutely nuts and becomes totally unbelievable. That does not sell. Your reader can see right through anything you write that comes across or even smells like plain old hype. Think about the sales copy that you've read and you're going to understand this. You can sense when it's nothing but hype. You can sense when it's something that is just really too good to be true and probably isn't true anyways. So can your readers. They can see right through your hype. Most people still use this approach because they see everyone else doing it and figure that it must be working for them, so it will work for me. That's not the case. For a lot of these people that are using it, it is not working. They may be making a lot of sales, but if they would actually do it properly, they would be able to make a whole lot more sales if they would just leave out some of the hype and begin to start creating hype-free messages and just concentrate on using the persuasion techniques that we're going to be talking about. They just began to sound like and act like a little kid running around mimicking everything they hear and seeing someone else doing. They see everybody else doing this kind of work with their sales copy, so I'm supposed to copy what the successful people are doing, and we see them making a lot of sales. We figure they must be successful. People are recommending them, so and we've had these trainings where we've said just go out and watch what everybody else is doing and copy success. So we ended up doing the same exact thing, using those things, and a lot of it comes from using swipe copy from other ones that were very hypey, taking that copy, not doing a lot of changes, and we end up with the same thing. Stop focusing on hype and start focusing on persuasion. The human thought process. By understanding the workings of the human thought process, it is incredibly easy to make people think or feel a certain way, which is the true key of a powerful sales copy. We need to start understanding the workings of the human thought process because when we do, you're going to find that it starts to become easier to start getting people persuaded over to doing the things that we want them to be able to do. We all make purchases from emotion, and then we justify them with logic. A good sales letter moves the reader from emotion to desire to action. And if you want proof of this, think about the purchases that you've made lately, particularly those in response to a sales letter you've read. If you really want to, for the proof that this really is how to do it, just really take a good look at why you bought. Maybe go back to those sales copies that you bought from and purchased from and figure out where it was that you actually felt compelled to start buying. A good sales letter is going to move you, the reader, from emotion to the desire to take action, and that action is to click on that link to buy or to sign up to your squeeze page and get on your list. Personal emotion motivators. Motivators that persuade people to make a decision or take a specific action. So we're going to take a look at some personal and emotional motivators that are going to help you persuade the people that are reading your sales copy to make a decision or take specific actions that you're asking them to take. The first one is comfort and security. Feel comfortable, secure, and in control. That's what people that are reading want to feel like. You yourself, you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel secure. You want to feel in control. You want to just relax. Feel secure in the knowledge that everything is under your control and will be taken care of at a moment's notice. Perfect health. This one just goes without saying. We all love to be fit. We're all not fit, but we love to be fit. We love to be healthy. We love to look good and feel great when other people are seeing us. We like to be able to, know that that when what they're looking at, they're seeing as pleasing to them as well. Peace of mind. Experience the peace of mind even if it is for a short period. There's so much going on these days that most of us are running around like a bunch of chickens with our heads cut off. And when we start experiencing this, we basically end up stressing over things. We suffer from anxiety attacks. We start suffering from the fear of what tomorrow may bring us. If we are, just, given the slightest opportunity to experience peace of mind, even if it's just for a very short period of time, we are ready to jump on the bandwagon and ride it all the way to the finish line. So if you can start projecting in your sales copy that you are going to be able to give this person a peace of mind by taking the action that you're asking them to take, you're going to do very good in persuading them to buy. Hope for a greater future. Tomorrow will be be better than today. We all are hoping that tomorrow, even if we had a wonderful day, we go to bed at night or wake up in the morning hoping that new day is even going to be better than the one. We don't want it to be worse. We want it to be better, at least the same. But we hope that tomorrow's going to be better. We hope that next week is going to be improvement over the last week. I certainly have had one of those weeks where I am hoping that at least tomorrow's going to be better, but next week I'm hoping I'm able to get a lot more done, that I'm able to accomplish a whole lot more. I'm hoping that next year, all of the things that I've been, striving for, all those things that I've been hoping and dreaming for will start to come to light. There's many things that, as I continue to grow my business that, I set for new goals, and I want to see those things start coming to light in the next year for the goals that I've set for this coming year. And so do your readers. They want you to be able to inject a hope for a greater future for them. Financial success. People want to be rich. But this is really, this is kind of a hard one for people. That even though they want to be rich, most people really do not see themselves as even believing that it's possible for them to even do. So don't try to persuade somebody by the promise of riches, because that is not going to be something that is going to work. They're not going to take that action with you trying to persuade them by the promises of riches. You need to be able to do it a little bit differently. You need to persuade them by the promise of financial security in their life and comfort from the security. This is the angle that an effective persuader must take. It's not telling them, I'm giving you the promise of riches, because a lot of people are not going to believe it because they do not see themselves. They do not have that belief system to really believe that it's possible for them to do. Achievement can and will obtain their most cherished goals and objective. Most people will be persuaded once you have done your job, and keeping them from, when you do their job, from clearing the obstacles that are currently keeping them from their progress that they're trying to get and the challenges that they're facing and stuff. Once you can do this, if you can show them that they're going to overcome the obstacles and able to have some achievement through the success that you're going to be delivering in your product and stuff, this is going to do some really awesome things in their mind and help them to understand that they're able to achieve these things, and the persuasion is going to follow. Personal power, being in control of events and circumstances. People love to be in control. We have loved to be in control from the very beginning of time. Going back to that thought of our children when they're 2 years old. They love to start being in control of their life. You need to show people that they're going to be able to have personal power, that they're going to be able to finally have that control over the events and their circumstances in their life, that the events and circumstances are no longer going to be controlling them. High self-esteem, having confidence in themselves. Absolute freedom, have control to do what we want, when we want, and for however long we want to do it. We all love to have that feeling that we're going to have absolute freedom. We want to basically be the captain of our own ship, making all of our own decisions and taking the actions that are going to support those values that we have and those goals and those objections. So, portray to your reader that feeling of absolute freedom in your sales copy. Emotional security. Remain sane when everything else is spinning out of control. This is something that is really important to people, is that no matter what happens, that their emotions are going to remain intact. A lot of people fear that when everything else is going out of control, that they're going to lose that emotional control as well. And if you can show them that the path that they're taking right now is going to basically take their life and spin it out of control, but if they would just follow what you're setting forth in their path right now, then they will be able to overcome that their life, that they're going to remain at least sane and stuff. So what you're doing with all of these things is showing them how taking the wrong action is going to spin their life out of control. They're going to lose power. They maybe have less self-esteem. They're going to lose that absolute freedom, that they're not going to be able to achieve it. And then turn right around and tell them, now look, I've got something here that is going to solve that, that's going to take care of that problem. And if you'll just follow it, we can overcome this problem, and you're going to be on your way to achieving these things that you're hoping for. Happiness is probably the most sought after thing by your reader. We all love to be happy. So make sure that all of these things that we're talking about here tonight, that you're using in your sales copy. And like I just got done saying, that these things, you start out by telling them that the actions that they're taking right now are going to be leading them away from this emotion that they're wanting in their life, and that you have the solution that is going to help them achieve this emotion. Power of authority and expertise. Possessing these skills, others will do what you tell or persuade them to do without asking questions. It is very important that you have the power of the authority and expertise, and you need to portray this in your sales copy. Without being able to portray this, you're not going to be able to persuade anybody to do anything. They can read it, you can have some of the best persuasion tactics, but if that person reading it does not believe that you are the authority, that you have the expertise to actually do what you're telling them, all the persuasion in the world is not going to do any good. You must possess these skills. Perceived authority plays a very big part or role in how persuasive you are. It injects confidence in the reader. So as they're reading what your sales copy, they're going to be able to feel confident in you. It's like being in school. We have confidence in our teacher. We know that they have the experience. They have the training to be able to lead us to where we need to go, to be able to teach us the things that we need to do. You need to have that perceived authority. A lot of people go, I don't feel like I have that authority. Well, in your sales copy, you better at least help that person perceive that you have the authority. If you are perceived to have expertise in your niche or your subject, your readers will be more willing to listen to what you have to say and to take the action that you ask them to take. Authority and expertise allow you to take charge of your environment. We're not talking about being bossy or controlling. We're not talking about writing sales copy that is you sitting up there with this big stick in your hand saying, buy now, get to the bottom of this page thing and click on that button right now or else. That's not what we're trying to get here. You need to come across as the authority and expertise that allows you to take charge of the environment and start getting them to start saying yes to what you're asking and lead them through that. We're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. But not being bossy or controlling, just taking charge with your authority and gently leading them to the call to action. Create confidence in the viewer's eyes as your credentials to your credentials, your background, and your heartfelt story. These are things that are going to help you help your believer perceive that you have this authority and that you are indeed the expertise. So present to them your credentials. This is where you're telling them who you are and why you're here in the first place. You're giving them a look into your background. Maybe telling them from where you came from and how you got there, and why you are able to teach them now. It's giving them your heartfelt story. Your story, like I've said many times, is very, very important. And it's going to be very important in your persuasion as well, connecting with your audience and persuading them to move forward. Use your copy to go into depth on who you are and why you're offering your amazing offer. Be sincere in your message. If you even begin to come across that you're not sincere, all the persuasion, just like many of these other things that we're talking about, is just going to be ineffective. You might have had the best persuasion, but if you do not come across as being sincere, your reader's going to be able to see right through that, and they're basically going to leave you. 2 ways to go about building credibility in the minds of your readers. First of all, you can build your own credibility by having your own products, getting them out there, getting your own customers, getting your own testimonials built up, and basically starting from scratch and building up that your own credibility, going through the training to get the experience. Or you can also borrow credibility. So maybe, talking about your product, maybe another expert in your field has made a remark or a statement about your product or about how the effects of what you're talking about would have on somebody's life. So you're using somebody else's credentials basically to use as your own credibility. So when they're seeing them, even though you don't have your own, they're seeing that other people, other experts in the market are also agreeing that what you have here is something that's going to be effective in their life. They understand that what you're trying to teach them is going to provide value to them. All right, we're going to be talking about some hot power words. We're just going to kind of quickly cover this because you can spend all day on this. There's a lot of power words out there. But power words are basically words that sell. These are going to be, when you go through somebody's sales copy, a lot of the times you will see these words highlighted, as far as being maybe bolded, highlighted in yellow, or sometimes they're underlined or italicized. These are the words that they want you to really notice. These are the words that are powerful. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's safe to make the statement that words have the potential to unleash overwhelmingly strong emotions in each and every one of us. Whether it's a good or bad way, they have a very overwhelmingly way of creating strong emotions in us. A lot of people just think about the words that people say to you and what certain words, how they make you really start feeling. Whether it's in a good or a bad way. And you're going to be using those words that make them have both of these emotions. You want them to start feeling their pain, and you also want them to start feeling the relief from that pain. Your sales letter should have one main accomplishment. Get your prospective person to respond, and to respond right now. Power words activate action. So the words that we're going to be talking about here and showing you, these are the words that are going to activate your reader into taking action. Power words are words that sell, or words that evoke positive feelings. They usually guarantee positive effect on the reader, although they can promote some pain in that reader where they feel that pain. But when you do that, you always want to be quick to get them off of that experience and get them onto the positive emotions. Incorporate power words naturally into your copy, and you have a very good chance of increasing your conversions and the number of sales that you make. And don't overuse it. Many times you'll see a paragraph that somebody that's really, they've heard about using power words. They understand that they work, but they've went way overboard where you just look at that thing and it's just so full of just words that once you start using too many of them, it starts losing that effect and it starts losing the meaning that it really should have. So be careful not to overuse them. I'm going to give you just a few lists. There's like 60 some that I have. We're not going to be going over all of these. You can take the time to look at these at a later time. But some of these like free, absolutely guaranteed, powerful, some of these are like breakthrough. All of these words you've seen in the copy when you're writing it, when you've been reading it. And the reason that you've seen it is because these are power words. Some more of them, talk like immediately or successful, exclusive, where they feel like, oh, this is all mine. Where we're talking, things like the secrets or wealth. Some more of them where we're talking about how things are new or get it now. Things that are, exclusive. Once, guys, we got that one in a couple times, but, special or reduced in price, unlimited quantities, experience or more. All of these words that we're talking about here are power words that you can use that are going to help you get your reader to take action. Here's some quick little paragraphs that have power words in them, some examples. By now, you have begun to realize the value and the extreme potential there is to learning how to write effective sales copy. I've got the ones that we're looking at as these power words highlighted here. When you begin to put those powerful techniques, and you see we've got powerful, we've got it capitalized, powerful techniques into practice, you will begin to realize how easy this program is to maintain. You will find yourself easily learning and using the methods taught in the Homerun Copywriters course to get your readers to take the desired call to action and convert any skeptical reader into a hot, ready-to-buy, satisfied customer. Finally, you found a real person that is going to help you overcome the obstacles that have been holding you back for far too long. Naturally, the secrets revealed in this program will benefit you not just in the near future, but even more over time. Now, there are a few different power words in here that are not highlighted and stuff, but we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to draw attention to every one of them. We just want to draw, to help the flow and help the eye to, to focus on these power words that we're using on the most important ones and to just keep them flowing through our sales copy. But these words are called power words because they help them take action. All right, we're going to be talking about pain. We're going to be talking about some fear, the fear of loss, but we're going to start out with pain. We need to focus on the reader's pain or their problem that you can solve. If you cannot solve their pain, do not focus on that pain. If you cannot solve their problem, do not focus on that problem. This is one of the strongest emotions that you can use to your advantage. Keep in mind that once you identify pain or a negative emotion, you're not going to want to stay there long. So once you've identified it in your sales copy, your ultimate goal is to show how your product or your service will take away or relieve these pains for the reader. So you want to hit on these, and you want to start drawing out the emotions that these pains, are causing in their life. You want to get on them, take that person there, and then you want to bring them to a place where they can see that you're going to be able to help relieve them from that pain. So you want them to actually start feeling that pain that you're going to be able to relieve them from. Using pain to motivate requires that you also indicate the escape route. Never leave them in the pain. Your route also has to be more attractive than other alternatives. There's many other alternatives at many times out there to their problem, that are solutions to their problem. What you're offering must be more attractive than all their other opportunities that they have. It has to be at least perceived to be better than any other opportunities out there, and you can use that perceived value in your copy, the way that you write it, that is perceived to be better than any other alternative that's out there. Pain avoiding motivators or stimulants. We're going to talk quickly about these 7 that we've got here. The first one is fear. Fear, basically, we live in a society that is just struck by fear. Fear stresses our bodies. It weakens our minds. It leads us to really undesirable consequences at times. An effective persuader basically is going to be able to take their reader on an amazing roller coaster ride. They're going to start stimulating the reader's fears, and then they're going to follow it up with basically a burst of relief and joy. So they're going to just continue to take them into that place of fear where they start feeling that sense of, where that they start feeling, wow, I remember the stress that this fear caused. Their mind starts to get weakened, and then all of a sudden you take them and you stimulate them with some relief and some joy, and then you just kind of take them on that little roller coaster ride. Failure is another thing that people do not like to have. If we do not obtain these goals, that we're talking about in our sales copy and stuff, we label ourselves as failures. So you need to be able to take that person and say, look, the way you're doing things right now is going to lead you to failure. You need to follow what I'm going to be teaching you to overcome this and achieve the success that you're looking for. Usually, failure stems from the act of comparing ourselves with other people. We see what other people are doing, the success they're having and stuff, and we compare ourselves to them, and we see ourselves as basically in the mode of failure instead of that success. While everybody else is getting success, we somehow are stuck down here failing all the time. The next one we're going to talk about is rejection. People want to fit in. It's just a natural thing to want to fit in. We want to be accepted by all those around us. We want to be accepted by our peers. For this very reason, rejection is a powerful motivator that an effective persuader has in your tool bag. Losing something. I don't know about you, but I do not like to lose things. People fear losing things. An effective reader will basically tries to find out exactly what their victim, I guess let's not call them a victim. Let's call it, our reader is afraid of losing. So we find out exactly what they're looking for, and what they're afraid of losing. And then we persuasively convince them that just by doing what we're talking about, they're going to be closer to reality than they ever imagined was possible. And then we're going to offer them an effective solution. So basically we're saying, look, you're about to lose something. If you keep going the way you are, you're going to lose this. And you're actually a whole lot closer in reality to losing this than you really think. You take them to that place where you show them, look, you're ready to lose this and you're closer than you even thought you are. And then you basically give them an effective solution that is going to remove that pain and bring about a good feeling. Criticism is another thing that we do not like. We hate to feel foolish. We don't like to be criticized by other people. Criticism could possibly be one of the most powerful pain-associating forces that a persuader can utilize in your persuasion process. People hate to be criticized. They hate to get started in something and start failing at it, and other people come along and start criticizing for doing what they just did. We also hate the unknown. This is one of those fears again. We just do not like the fear of not knowing what we should be doing next, not being able to predict what's going to happen if we take the next step. Basically, this uncertainty keeps people within a comfort zone. We like to stay in that comfort zone. We don't like to take that step out, because if we do, we might fall. And if we need to be able to bring this out while we're writing our sales copy. When a persuader convinces the reader that their current decision or action will lead them down an unknown path of uncertainty, then this alone could be very well enough that would persuade them to make a turn in the opposite direction and follow you down that path that you're trying to lead them. So use these motivators or stimulants in your sales copy to become an effective persuader. The formula to persuade pain in your prospect. First of all, we have to try to get inside the head of your reader. Once again, you need to be able to research, to be able to figure out where that reader is at. You're not going to know that they're there on your page. You can't sit there and read their mind while they're reading it. You've got to find out what's going on in their mind long before they get there. You need to do the proper research. You need to focus on the problem that the reader has. Once again, this comes from researching, finding out what kind of problems that your target market is having. And once again, when I said this a little bit earlier, make sure that the problems that you are going into, you absolutely have the solution to. Don't ever start going into talking about product or problems that your readers are having if you do not have that solution. But it comes from researching, finding out what problems are going on. Point out to them how, because of this problem, they're stalled, they're irritated, they're worried and unable to achieve their sincere needs. You've got these needs, you've got these wants, these desires, and right now you're stopped. You can't go any farther. You're irritated with the thought of not being able to get any farther than you are now. You're worried that if you don't get something started pretty soon, you're going to start losing everything. And then once you get them there, you tell them how they can fall into trouble if they do not take any action against it. Show them where they're at. Really take them there and say, you know what? And you're going to fall into more troubles if you do not start taking any action against it. And then, of course, you're going to explain to them the action they need to take. Show them how your product or service will help them overcome the product. Knowing your product and the benefits to the reader. We talked about this already. You need to understand what your product is all about. You need to understand the benefits that it has to the reader. Not to you, not to the features that it has, but understand the benefits that it has to your reader. Show them how that product or service is going to help them overcome their problem. Overcoming their problem is a benefit. Let them know how good their future is going to be because of the action they're going to take today. So not only telling them how good they're going to feel once they take this action, but take them into the future. One of the things that you have to understand about people is when they buy, a lot of the times you go through this, you've done your job of persuading them to buy, and it's not very long afterwards, and many people go through what we call buyer's remorse. And they go, oh my gosh, what in the world did I just do? I can't believe that they just persuaded me to buy this. And, it's going to come to that point where they're going to have remorse about even buying that. So what you need to do to help overcome this is put in their mind not only how good they're going to feel at that moment that they purchase, but how good they're going to feel 6 months down the road when they're achieving the success and their finances are looking better and they're becoming more secure and people are starting to notice them and people are starting to talk better about them and seeing them as the expert. So you let them understand how good things are going to be in the future to keep them looking forward so that they don't go through that buyer's remorse. Using fear. If you're going to use fear as your persuader, you need to meet some conditions. The threat you use to promote fear must be seen as real. Don't use unreal fear. They have to be able to see it. It has to be real to them. And it has to be seen as having a direct consequence to the reader, not to somebody else. It has to have a direct consequence to that reader. You must next offer the reader specific recommendations on how they can overcome the threat. And then your reader next needs to believe that what you're offering is a way of escape, will actually work for them and be effective. So you've got to offer them a specific recommendation, how to overcome it, and also you have to make them believe that what you're recommending, what you're offering, is going to be a way to escape the pain of this fear. They must believe that the action you're asking them to take will be easily carried out. That it's not going to be something that's going to take a long time. It's not going to be something that's going to be hard for them to overcome. They've got to understand and feel that it's going to be easily carried out by them once they purchase this. A lot of the times we talk about building websites and the technical things that we're talking about, and we talk about the pain of not being able to get this set up and stuff. But if you can't convince that person that the action you're asking them to take is going to be easily carried out, they're not going to be able to understand that it's going to be achievable for them. So you need to provide a solution that in their mind they're going to be able to effectively carry this out easily. So, here's where maybe a bonus fits in to offer a technical course, that you lead them into saying, this is going to help you easily achieve this and overcome this fear that you're having, that you're never going to be able to get your website up. You're never going to be able to get visitors to your website. So make sure that they feel it's easy to overcome. Persuading with the use of fear of loss. Most readers will be motivated by the prospect of losing something they already have than they will at the prospect of gaining something they don't have yet. Most people are not going to be really affected too much if you start going into all of these things that they could lose if they were to get sometime, because a lot of times they can't see themselves getting this. So you need to focus on the things that they already have, and you need to motivate them by the prospect that they could lose these things if they don't take action right now. Stressing the potential or the possibility of a loss or a negative consequence of not taking a certain action you're requesting the reader to take is a good way to motivate action. Here's an example. Some of your sales copy, you put in your sales copy to your reader. You've worked hard to build a solid financial footing for you and your family. So you want to be sure that everything you already have is protected. I don't even have to explain to you that accidents and disasters can and do happen. Most everyone will be affected by a serious accident or a disaster at some point in life. And if you aren't adequately insured, it could leave you in a financial ruin. You need insurance to protect your life, your ability to earn income, and to keep a roof over your head. Now I want you to look at this. We're talking about a salesman trying to basically sell insurance here. Down here, they're saying you need this insurance to protect your life. They already have life. You're talking about ability to earn income. Most people have the ability to earn income already. Most people already have a roof over their head. So you start honing in on these things they already have. Talk about, the potential of disaster and make it real, that you understand that these things happen and that most people are going to be affected by this at one time or another. So if you haven't, it's coming. So it's time to be prepared for it right now, because if you don't prepare right now, you're in danger of losing the things that you have. Don't talk about something that they don't have yet. Be focused on the things that they have and the fear of losing those things. Now we're going to talk about anger and jealousy. This is kind of an interesting thing. Anger and jealousy are two very powerful motivators to use in your sales copy. To correctly use these tactics, you need to focus on the things that really make your prospect angry or jealous. And if you're like your target market, it's going to be easy, because you're going to be able to stop and think about the things that make you angry, the things that you're jealous of. But if you're not sure, again, make sure that you're researching. Some of the things that might make your audience anger or jealous are the fear of being ripped off, of being scammed. When we're scammed, that drives us to anger. Being intimidated, taken advantage of. Your next step is to lead them from the anger to being jealous that you have the solution to what is making them so angry. So we're going to focus on these things right here. We're going to get them feeling that feeling of anger. We're going to want to, you remember when you were ripped off? You've probably been ripped off many times. You remember that feeling of anger? You remember when somebody gets scammed you or whatever, that feeling of that anger? Bringing them to a place of anger, and then making them jealous that you have the solution to what is making them so angry. It's going to relieve them from this anger. Be careful not to direct the anger toward yourself. You don't want them angry at you. So be careful in your wording here. The moment you start making them angry at you, they're going to close down and they're probably going to leave right then and there. You want your prospect's anger directed toward the problem or the situation that you know they're having. Be careful not to direct this at you. I've seen sales copy where basically you've put yourself, where people will put themselves in the place of maybe like the guru that has been ripping people off, where they've worded it in a way where they've basically put themselves into the same position. Be careful that you don't do that. You want to direct them toward the problem. Here's an example. Think about this headline and the story that kind of follows. Never let the guru intimidate you again. Learn how to stay in control of your buying power and never be ripped off by another guru's hyped up product offer again. So we're starting to get them to start feeling that anger toward, somebody that maybe has ripped them off, or they've scammed them or something. But we're going to show them that we have the way for them to have the ability to stay in control of their buying power. You're going to lead them to believe that you have this, the teaching that they need. You have the experience. You know how to help them stay in control. But you're going to start leading them to start looking at that guru. Now, you're not putting yourself in the position of the guru right here. You're just saying, I have what you need to do to keep your control and take that control back from that guru who's been intimidating you, who's been ripping you off. Never be intimidated again when you go to purchase a product online. For most people, buying products online is worse than going to your local dentist to have a tooth pulled. At least you know that there is going to be some pain involved when the dentist starts to extract your tooth. So you're starting to go, it's like, even the dentist, there's going to be some pain, but you don't expect it when you're buying something online. But when we buy a product online, we shouldn't expect to be ripped off or scammed by every big guru product offer that we're promising us the fast and easy way to claim the sun and the moon as our very own. Buying many products online has become kind of like that great piece of swampland in Florida we have heard about so many times. The results promised never seem to be acquired, just like the land never materialized. So you're starting to bring that person to start thinking about all of these things, the times they've been scammed and been ripped off, and darn those gurus. Why do they keep doing this to me? Well, things for me are different now. Now you're going to start taking that anger and you're going to start making them jealous that you have the answer. Well, things for me are different. It never is a big deal to me anymore because I learned how to put a stop to this practice. And I took control of the buying power we all possess. So you're telling them, basically, you possess this buying power. And I know how to give that back to you. I know exactly how to buy a product that will actually deliver the promises made in the sales copy by the big guru. I am never overcharged, and I get treated like a king with the product support I receive after my purchase. So now they're sitting there thinking, wow, I wish I had this. Why can't I, have this kind of experience? They're starting to feel a little bit jealous of you. You see, I know a little something that will help you as well. Wouldn't it be great to know my secret to taking charge of the buying power you possess over the guru and never let them intimidate you again? Of course, you're starting to get a few yeses here because, you're asking them these little subtle questions and getting these little subtle yeses right now. Wouldn't it be great to know these secrets? Wouldn't it be great to never let these gurus intimidate you again? You would not have to live in fear of being ripped off. So now you're saying, now think about this for a second. Just imagine this. You would not have to live in fear of being ripped off while buying a product online from this day forward. So you've taken them a place where they're feeling angry and then they're feeling jealous of you for having it, and then you're leading them into basically giving you the okay to move forward. Wouldn't it be great to know these things? Well, I've got all these answers, so with your permission, we're going to kind of move right on down the page now. Creating scarcity and urgency. Easily create demand for your product or service through the use of scarcity and urgency, which should be reiterated periodically through your sales copy. You don't want to just use this once. You want to use this throughout your sales copy from the very start to the end. When to build scarcity and urgency? From the very start. Right from that very headline that they show up to and see on that page, you want to start building scarcity and urgency in them. So maybe you're using power words like limited, things that are going to start creating that sense of urgency for them right away. You're going to want to use this throughout it, but also at the end of your sales copy. In your call to action, you're going to want to start reiterating that scarcity and that urgency again when you start taking them into that call of action to let them know that you need to take action right now. Also in the PS, so that if they get clear to that bottom without taking the action that you wanted to, that PS is going to take them and deliver that scarcity and urgency once again. It's like, look, you're about to click off this page, and that's going to be wrong. You can't do that, because if you do, you might not ever be able to get this chance again. The opportunity that is here is for right now. It's not for later, because if you give that person the opportunity to leave, they're going to. The beginning and the end of your copy are where you must build it, but try and build upon this all throughout the sales letter. If you really want someone to read your sales copy, you must snag them with your attention-grabbing, persuasive headline right away. Show your reader how they can save. Show them how they can gain or accomplish something by using your product or service that will have a positive impact on their life. Bring out something on the negative side that the reader is looking to avoid. Maybe embarrassment of others seeing a failure, or a financial mistakes like we were talking about here a little earlier, or discomfort, etc. So you start bringing these, a little bit of the negative out here, but you're also going to use the scarcity and urgency that look, this could happen, but if you take action right now, but right now is your time to overcome this and not let this happen. Jump on a nerve for a second and then give them a real quick glimpse or a promise that they have just come across their solution to avoid the negativity you just hit on. Now, not like little kids that get on a nerve of their parents or something, then just sit there and jump up and down and just kind of think that's fun and never want to get back off of it. I'm sure you've experienced that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about getting on a nerve for just a second. Just getting them that, that feeling of irritation or whatever, and then quickly giving them a glimpse, or a promise that they've just come across the solution to avoiding this irritation that they're feeling right now. The real key is to add in scarcity or urgency to make them feel they need to continue reading now. So that's the biggest thing that you need to overcome with your headline, is to give them that scarcity and that urgency that they can't just stop here. They've got to continue on down that sales page. Don't delay in taking action. Take it right now. Continue reading. Scarcity and urgency in the call to action. Call to action is when it is time to seal the deal. This is where we're saying, okay, look, I've identified your pain. We've connected. I've got you feeling good here. You can see what the future is going to look like. It is time for you to take action right now. Urgency and scarcity are very effective methods of creating that urge to buy right now. You need to have risk removal. If your product is guaranteed, be sure to let your guarantee shine and emphasize the fact so that there is no reason for hesitation. So use risk removal in your scarcity and urgency for your call to action. If your product has a limited supply, make this very, very clear in your call to action. Expiring date method. This is where you're talking about the price going up on your offer. Or you could pull your offer after a certain time or date so that the prospect knows he must act quickly to get the best deal possible. A lot of times you'll see timers or countdown timers on a sales page, and you're sitting there saying, look, when this offer is up, when that timer expires, this offer is going to be removed permanently. That timer being there is going to have a persuasive effect on your reader. They're going to sit there and be looking at that timer going, wow, it's counting down. They can see the time actually counting down. You're not just telling them that this could expire at any time. They're seeing how long they got before it expires. So their mind is saying, wow, I got to get through this. I got to make a decision now. I can't come back later. I've got to make that decision now. Really emphasize everything your reader will miss out on or will lose if they even hesitate. Bring fast action bonuses offers into play again. So at this point, you're going to want to say, look, if you hesitate, all of these things that we just talked about, and you start bringing those things back that you could possibly miss out on. Remember, we talked about the fear of loss. You're going to be talking about that, and you're going to be talking about the things that they could miss out on if they don't take this action and stuff. Bring those back up in your call to action. It's like, look, you're going to miss out on these if you don't act now. Bring up fast action bonuses that help them, to basically say, wow, I would love to get a hold of this fast action bonus. I mean, this is an amazing bonus. If I am not one of the first 10 or 15 people to actually act upon this, and it looks like he's already sold 3 or 4, man, I better act fast because I want this bonus. So it's a good place to bring in fast action bonuses. Scarcity and urgency call to action examples. You're going to get everything I have mentioned above, and then you remind them again what they're going to get, plus the $498 worth of highly valuable fast action bonuses I have just mentioned. But this is only for those that order right now before the last of the limited copies are sold, and this amazing offer is gone forever. So order right now, and of course you want an order button right there. Just click on the order button right below, and I will send your downloads immediately to your inbox, so you're letting them know what's going to happen. So, it's like, just take it now, and this is what's going to happen. You're going to immediately get your downloads. They're going to come to your inbox so you can get started using these amazing techniques right away. Go ahead and click below on the Order Now button right now. So basically, you're telling them, look, you're getting all of this high value if you act right now. And by acting right now, this is what's going to happen. You're still here reading this letter because you want more. You want to change, and you know that hesitating now is a vote for your old life. And of course, you've taken them to where their old life is. You've taken them to that place where their life is now. You've already painted a picture of something more promising that they're looking forward to now. So you take them and say, look, you want to change from everything we just got done talking about. But you know that if you hesitate right now, that you're basically voting for that old life. You're saying, I don't care, my life is bad, but that's okay. I'm perfectly fine. Turn the key that unlocks the door to your new life and grab this limited time opportunity now. So it's limited. It's going to go away. And if it's gone, you're still remaining in that old life. Look out the window again. There are people who are making their own way, and there are people who are letting the world have its way with them. Which group are you in? I'm betting on you. Make your decision now. Click that link below and have your own way right now. So it's basically like you're saying, take charge right now. Click on that button and have your own way. Using scarcity, implied scarcity is very, very powerful. If you can imply in your sales copy scarcity or urgency, it is going to be a very powerful persuasive technique. Scarcity allows you to position your products or services as a hot, in-demand commodity. Everybody else is getting this right now. It's about to leave. I'm about ready to sell out of all of these copies that I have because it's been so popular. So it perceives that to be a hot, in-demand commodity. It helps drive up the perceived value. Something that is limited has a higher perceived value. It creates fear of losing out on something special, like we talked about earlier on. Convey the consequences of doing nothing or of delaying. So you want to make sure that you convey what the consequences are going to be to that reader if they choose to do nothing or if they choose to delay right now. Be clear about the reason why the scarcity is in place. Enforce the scarcity. Use scarcity with integrity. Never use scarcity that you can't actually live up to. False scarcity can harm your business. A lot of people will do one-time offers that will just remain there forever. You can go back to them every time you click. You can go back there to them. They might not know how to set them up right or whatever, but every time you're saying, look, this is limited. This is a one-time offer. You're never going to see this again. And that person is like, wow, I got to get it right now. But if they choose not to and they come back to it and it's still there, that was not using scarcity with integrity. Use words and sentences that convey urgency. You must do whatever you can to induce urgency and compel the prospect to read your sales letter now instead of later. You can't let them come back later. Given an opportunity to put off reading your sales copy, and you can be assured that the reader will do it. So if you give your reader the opportunity to put off reading it, rest assured that's exactly what they're going to do for the most part. Never remind them in your sales copy how busy they are. That's a no-no. A lot of times I'll see this in sales copy where it's like, I know you're busy right now. That's a no-no. You don't want to put in your sales copy reminding them how busy they are, because they're going to go, oh, wow, I am busy. Wow, I got all these things. I don't got time to read this thing right now. I'll have to come back to this later. Well, then they get busy and they never do come back to it. So never tell your reader how busy they are, because they basically are going to realize that, yes, they are too busy to do what you want them to do at that moment. Make sure that you always have a valid reason for the urgency that you are using, no matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how large or small that reason is. It must be a valid reason for the urgency for them to get it right now. Don't give the feel that your urgency is just another marketing gimmick. When you do this, people are going to see right through it. They're going to go, I've seen this 100 times. And a lot of times it just comes down to simply rewording something that's been used over and over and over and over before. Take that, that same old thing and reword it a little bit so they don't see that it's just some other marketing gimmick that's been used time and time again. Here's some examples of example of different phrases to use that will create a real sense of urgency and or scarcity that will really put pressure on the reader of your sales copy to act now. Some of these phrases are like, tomorrow is too late. Start benefiting immediately after you order. Limiting to a very small group. I'm only going to let the next, it's not 200, but 104, what you're saying there is that there's already 96 of them gone. Ready for success action takers gain access to this life-changing information. It's rare to even have such an opportunity. So these are phrases that you can use that are going to create that sense of urgency. We are only offering a limited quantity. We are only releasing a limited quantity to ensure its value remains. We like to reward the action takers. This insanely low introductory offer will not last forever. I reserve the right to change the price at any time without notice. This insanely low introductory offer will not last forever. We want a crazy amount of people to use our product in order to create a massive amount of success stories and testimonials. As soon as we reach our goal, the price is going back up to its original amount. Now, you've probably seen many of these phrases in sales copy before. These are things that create urgency. Like this last one we just talked about. You might put a product out there for a low introductory offer just to get some success stories, just to get some testimonials. And once you do, you start building that credibility up, then you can start putting the price up. You understand that you might not have that credibility now, so you want this testimonials to be able to prove that you can validate that price that you're going to be raising it to. Neglecting the critical job of creating urgency will give the customer an objection, which we talked about. You do not want to let them just sit there with an objection in their mind, which leads to no action or no sale. So never stay away from using urgency in your sales copy. If you've got to give that customer the feeling that you are overcoming those objections that they have, because if you leave them in that state of objection, they're not going to click on that order button that you have. You're not going to make that sale. They're not going to sign up to your list to get a free product. They're not going to take any kind of action. Reiterate the problem to create an urgency. Remind them of the problems they said they were having. Of course, we've researched it. We know the problems that they already said they were having. What they said they were looking for and what they wanted to find that would help solve the problem during your research. So you've researched and you found out the problems, what they said they were looking for to solve the problems, what they wanted to find to solve those problems, and what they thought would help solve them. Here's an example of that. Say, remember up until this point, of course you can say this because you've researched, remember up until this point you have been feeling left in the dark, overloaded with information and little of it good, discouraged, frustrated, and so ready to quit. And right now, you can have access to the very step-by-step formula for incredible home run copywriting success. You will be able to start using it as soon as you go through this course to make money by the truckload. This amazing, potent step-by-step formula can be your shot at breakthrough copywriting success if you'll have it, if you really want it bad enough. So you're telling them, you're basically going back and you're reiterating those problems that you found out they were having. You're going back there saying, remember this? Well, guess what? We can overcome this right now. and you've used some other urgency in there, and you've basically telling them you can have all these good feelings and stuff to help overcome all those bad feelings you were having if you'll just act right now. Convey the consequence of doing nothing or delaying. An example, it is time to ask more than just, what do you want? We both know what that is. You want a safe, recession-free life. You want to be free from the monotonous 9-to-5 job you get up for day after day. It is time to ask, what are you willing to do to get what you want? Let's face some pure facts right now. If you've not decided to act right now and grab this amazing offer, what's going to be different about your tomorrow? I think we both know the answer to that. You'll get up early, rush to get ready, fight traffic to go off to work. If you do nothing, then nothing will change. Tomorrow is going to be like today and like the day before that. So basically what you're saying is like, you need to take action right now, because tomorrow, you don't want to wait till tomorrow. You don't want your tomorrow to be just like it was today. It's time for you to make the change you've been dreaming of. It's time for you to take that first step to lay off your boss. It's time for you to start making what you deserve. Are you ready? It's like, then you're going to follow up with that call to action. Here we go. Click now. If you sit there and wait, you know that nothing's going to change and that tomorrow's going to be the same. So let's get going right now. Using greed for urgency. Greed is when you want something that you do not or may not really need. You want it just to know that you possess it. Most readers will have the desire to be able to boast and show off to others, to increase their sense of identity. Their sense of control is also enhanced because they have it and others do not. You've probably been to this place where, and you've been a little bit greedy, but you just wanted to have that desire just to be able to boast and show off to other people. Like, look what I got and you don't. Example, I know you're tired of just getting by and living paycheck to paycheck. It really gets old after a while when everything you're working so hard for just seems out of your reach, while others show off the new toys they just purchased. The stress really begins to wear you down. Isn't it about time you discover how to break the getting by cycle once and for all and start living the life of luxury? So while, right now everybody else is showing off to you. Wouldn't it be better for you to start breaking that cycle and getting the things so you can start showing off to other people? Wouldn't it be better to be just a little bit greedy and go after these things? Well, let me show you how you're going to be able to go about that. Using the apology to create urgency. I actually did this one in an email that I sent out about this training. Apologize to the reader for the lack of results they are going to have if they decide not to buy. Do this only if you're super confident about the results that the reader can or will attain by having your product or service. So if you're not sure they're going to even get results, don't apologize for nothing, because there's no sense in apologizing. The only thing that you should be apologizing about is, sorry, I gave you such a bad product or didn't do my job to help you basically get the success that I just told you you're going to be able to get. Here's an example. I am sure you are tired or trying to decide whether this is right for you. Remember, be decisive in nature. Successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Once again, you're kind of taking care of that person that's going to have that buyer's remorse, where they made that quick decision, but that's okay. You're changing their mind slowly. You know this is exactly what you're looking for. If you leave this page, I apologize for you missing your opportunity, as I guarantee something else or someone else will take your spot. So basically you're saying if you leave, somebody else is coming along right after you and they're going to take your spot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you are going to miss out on this amazing opportunity. I again want to warn you that I am limiting this offer to a very small group of sincere action takers. And due to the already high demand, I want to sincerely apologize right now if the order button is not still live. And they're like in their mind going, what? The order button might not be live. They're ready to buy now. And you miss out on your opportunity of knowing these powerful home run copywriting techniques. So you're putting in their mind, it's like, go check the order button to see if it's even live right now. So they click it, which is going to help them follow right on through to actually taking the order in a lot of cases. But you're apologizing them if they do get down there and they find that order button is not live. And I'm sure you've seen these being used before. Secure your copy right now while there are still some available. And then put in little parentheses, If it's already sold out, please accept my apologies. Using limited availability to create urgency. Ensure you have a valid reason for limiting it first of all. Here's some examples. I normally charge thousands of dollars to those wanting to learn these powerful copywriting techniques I am ready to put into your hands in just a few moments. It is very important to let you know that I'll be raising the price up very soon. If the order button is still live by the time you finish reading this letter, you will be among the very few elite that have ever had the opportunity of knowing these powerful techniques of writing sales copy that converts prospects into sales. So basically you're telling them that it's got a limited availability at this price right now. It's also telling them that very limited amount of people are actually getting this course. So you've got a couple different ways that you're limiting the availability in this to create the urgency. My Homerun copywriting system is powerful, and I've never offered up the kinds of secrets like I am ready to reveal to you today. So this page will only be shown to a small group before I take it down for good. It's like these things are so powerful, I don't want it to get out in everybody's hands. I'm only going to be offering it up to you right now, just a very few, to be able to get this. So act right now. Asking probing questions about the reader's education. This is fun. This is basically, the suggestion is that anyone will buy anything if there are enough elements that benefit them. That's why we say so strongly, concentrate on benefits, not features. Concentrate on what the benefit is to your reader. Example, has anyone ever taken the time to teach or reveal to you all the benefits of? Now here we're talking about the reader. We're starting to probe questions about the education of the reader. We're starting to probe into how much education that reader has actually had. First thing with that little statement that we just made, that little sentence, it does is imply that it is the responsibility of the one selling to take the time to help educate the reader. So that reader's reading that and they're going, wow, it's that guy's responsibility. It's that teacher's responsibility that is trying to sell me this to take the time to help educate the readers. It's not my responsibility. It's very subtly puts down the competition also. If we read that again, basically it says, has anyone ever taken the time? Who's anyone? Anyone is your competition that's out there. So it's very subtly putting down the competition who have not taken the time to educate that reader. So we basically said, has anybody ever helped you, get this education? Has the competition been there? Now we're not going to want to just come right on and say, doggone that competition. They just haven't done this. We don't want to sit there and bash the competition. We want to just subtly put them down a little bit, make that reader realize that it's the competition's fault that they have not been able to get that education. Here we're going to use that same example. Has anyone ever taken the time to teach or reveal to you all the benefits of? By doing this, you also take away all the pressure or the blame of your reader for not knowing everything they should know. Because a lot of people are just like, man, I probably should know this stuff by now. I've heard people say this many times when you're trying to educate them. It's like, man, I'm sure I've seen this many times. I should know this by now. I've been through it so many times. You're saying, basically, so what? Stop blaming yourself right now, for not knowing everything that you should know already. It's not your fault. You are strongly implying that there are many more benefits than your customer is probably aware of. And it's all simply by using that one three-letter word, all. You're saying that there's more benefits, not just one benefit, but all the benefits. It also is giving you permission to make your presentation or to continue on with the sales process. The moment they say no in their mind to this question, they're giving you permission to start selling and for you to lead them down farther. Basically, when you say, is anyone ever taking you the time to teach or reveal to you all the benefits of, and then you go on to explain, and they're in their mind, when they get to that place, say, man, no, they haven't. Would you please do this for me? They start giving you permission to start moving forward. We need to be building a yes frame of mind all the way throughout your sales copy. Getting the reader in a yes frame of mind early in your sales copy is vital to getting them to say yes. When it comes to taking the desired action you are requesting them to take in the end. You don't want to just get them all the way down to the end and then struggle to get them to say yes. You want them to be saying yes all the way down through it. Remember that small leads to large. So we're not looking for big yeses throughout your thing. We're just looking for small little yeses. They're nodding their head, agreeing with you. And it's going to lead to larger commitments. And that larger commitment is taking action and that required action that you're asking them to take. Get a person to agree with you in small or minor ways. We're going to do this by using undeniable truths. Undeniable truths are getting them into a yes position. These are going to be basically saying things that you can just undeniably say are true. That that reader is going to start shaking or nodding their head. They're going to be saying yes in their mind. Asking questions that you know that the reader will say yes to. You want to start out by asking 3 questions. This could be 2 to 3. I like to use the power of 3. Use 3 questions that you know the reader will say yes to. Follow up with a fourth question that may not be as much of an undeniable truth. So maybe it's not quite true, but you've been getting them to say yes all along, so they're going to automatically fall right into this yes again. But it's something that falls right into place, so it's got to fall into place, and the reader will say yes to as well. Here's an example of some undeniable truths. Have you ever felt like you're being left in the dark? Now understand that when we're going through these things, you already know the problems. You know that the people have already experienced these things. So have you ever felt like you're being left in the dark with no real answers? And they're going, yep, been there. Do you feel as if you're suffering from information overload? Been there too, yep. Are you frustrated and discouraged by lack of results? Man, I have not been getting any results. That's a form of a yes, like, yeah, I've been there. I'm frustrated. I bet you would love to finally have the amazingly potent step-by-step formula. Well, if you would have just came out, hey, how about buying this potent step-by-step formula? You might get a yes, you might not. But right now they've been saying yes, 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 and now you're going, I bet you would love to get a hold of the step-by-step formula that would help you finally get results and can be your shot at breakout success. And they're in their mind going, man, if that's true, where's it at? Yes, you can better believe it, because you've already answered these questions below where they're already feeling like they're left in the dark, they've got information overload, they're not getting any results. And so they're saying, yeah, I've been there. I've been looking for these results. That being the case, here's our little sentence. That being the case, has anyone ever taken the time to teach or reveal to you all the benefits that come from knowing the real actionable copywriting strategies that you need to begin writing copy like the pros and begin profiting like mad? So now you've got yes, 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 and it's like, and has anyone ever basically given you this? And they're like, now all of a sudden their mind's going to, no, they haven't. But man, I would love to be able to get that. So now, yes, 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 no, but please keep going on farther. Here's another example. I've used a homeschool training, so if you're people that are homeschooling, maybe you've got a training course that's teaching people how to be a better homeschooler. So you start out, would you agree with me that it's very irritating when someone says that homeschooling is just an alternative education compared to the real education received from being in the public schools? Well, of course, people that are interested in this, a lot of times they've been told it's like, homeschooling it's an alternative. It's not the real education that everybody, and that irritates that person. So they're going to say, yeah, that would be very irritating. You understand that the smaller student to teacher ratio, or the one-on-one tutoring that homeschooling provides, is one of the most effective methods of all teaching, don't you? Yes, I understand that. That's just a fact that, if somebody's struggling, that a one-on-one teacher or a better teacher ratio to the students is something that's going to be more effective. So once again, you get a yes. Wouldn't you also agree that some of the parents that are homeschooling their children really are not properly prepared to be teaching their children at home? Most people that are going to this know that there's people out there that just really weren't prepared or shouldn't be teaching their children at home. So again, you got a pretty undeniable truth there that yes. I'm also pretty sure that you're aware that our society is crumbling because the foundation of the family has been replaced by shallow humanistic substitutes such as the public schools of today. Yeah, I'm aware. I see societies crumbling. Well, has anyone ever taken the time to properly educate or reveal to you all of the benefits of properly homeschooling your children so that you as a parent can be instrumental in taking responsibility in restructuring our society? Now, on one word that you've just told them that they need to take responsibility. So they're mind, yes, 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 yes. Well, okay, I need this education because I better be taking responsibility to help this restructuring, and me homeschooling my kids and giving them a better education is going to help me meet that responsibility that I have. So you've, again, the yes, 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 and then nope, nobody's ever do that, but please, continue. Social proof. Social proof is a very powerful influencer. If people see that others just like them or similar to them are doing it, they will find there's a powerful influence for them to do the same. Social proof is simply the suggestion that what you are recommending as a solution to your reader's problem is already very popular with many other people. So you're telling that reader, it's like, look, here's the solution. And there's a lot of other people that are using this. So you might want to be using some testimonials to show that a lot of other people are using this and getting results. Several other people are using this. Social proof is the image of success concept. So people are going to see that image of success with everybody else doing it, everybody else using it. They're going to see you as the person that's saying, I've got the power right here to be able to help you as well. They're going to see you as that image of success already. Social proof tends to stimulate curiosity and interest from people unfamiliar with your solution. It's like if you get a bunch of people standing around looking up, all of a sudden your curiosity gets you and you want to look up too. So social proof stimulates that curiosity. When they see everybody else talking about it, they want to take a peek and take a look to see what's going on, and then you can draw them into it. We are social beings, and it's our very nature to be drawn to the things that many other people are apparently drawn or attracted to already. That's why these social networking places like Facebook and Twitter are so powerful, because we are created a social being. It's part of our very nature to be social. Even if we're shy, we still have that desire to be social. So we are drawn and attracted to these kind of things. What to use as social proof? Testimonials. Make sure that you use well-written and very specific testimonials. Don't just use a testimonial like, hey, this product was great. Make it specific. Don't use testimonials that imply outlandish or hard-to-believe claims. This will raise suspicion about the authenticity of your testimonials and lead your reader to believe these to be untrue. So if you get testimonials that are just simply outlandish and really hard to believe, just really hypey, they're like, yeah, right, how in the world, I don't believe somebody got that kind of result. They're going to basically believe that the rest of your testimonials, or even that one, is going to be untrue. Don't just ask for a testimonial. If you're going to ask for a testimonial, you don't want to accept what you get unless it is exactly what you want. Get specifics. So if somebody that you've asked for a testimonial sends you a testimonial that is not specific, it's not exactly what you were looking for, say, hey, could you kind of go into this in a little bit more detail, maybe even lead them in the direction that you want them to go, because maybe they really don't know what you're looking for in that testimonial. It's like, hey, I was satisfied, it was great, but you're looking for a little bit more specifics. You want testimonials from those who most resemble your customer or prospect. So if you got a bunch of people that are struggling to get started at something, you're going to want testimonials that come from other people that were struggling to get started and found success through what you're trying to teach. So like our homeschooling example, if you got a bunch of people struggling to find education and to be the best homeschooler that they possibly can, you want to find other people that were in those positions before and that now are succeeding and excelling in homeschooling and have used your product and to find that success. Social media such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, your blogs, etc. are all places that you can use to get social proof. Get on there. Get other people talking with you. Get other people talking about the experiences that they've had with you. Using LinkedIn, the power of, basically all of these other professionals are out there, that you're associated with. Recommendations by other respected authorities in your industry is another way of getting social proof. One of the things, like maybe somebody else uses you to be a coach. They trust you as to coach their students, and they give you a recommendation to be a coach for somebody else. You can use this as, look, other people are using my services. They feel comfortable with me. They like what I provide. So other people are recommending me as well. Social proof is not beating your reader over the head to prove your point. If you got to sit there and beat somebody over the head to prove your point, it's not going to work. It is simply about supporting information to influence and to persuade buyers. Don't get out the stick and start beating people over the head, laying, look at me. Look at all these people that are flocking to me. I'm the big expert and stuff. You see what I'm doing here? That's not what you want to do. You want to use it more subtly. Let everybody else just provide that social proof and stuff, and then you basically just sit in the middle of it and shine and let other people, see what's going on around. All right, I want to thank you for joining this training. There's little doubt that your ability to persuade others to use your way of thinking is one of the most important and indispensable skills that we must learn and master as a copywriter. We've touched on a limited amount of it tonight. There is so much more, and I really recommend that if you're really serious about this, that you really dive into reading and learning and training on how to really use effective persuasion. Persuasion is usually very subtle and naturally stimulates our hidden needs, wants, and motivations that will lead us to be better and more fulfilling existence. Like I just got done saying, it's not about beating people over the head. It's something that is just going to be subtle. It's going to be natural in the way that it stimulates your reader. It's not going to be say, man, you need to be scared of this. It's going to just subtly bring out that fear that they have or whatever, and then leading them to a better place. Some recommended resources that you could look into for studying this. If you're looking for Persuasion, The Art of Getting What You Want by Dave Lakhani would be a good book to read. Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini. The Secrets of Persuasion and Influence is going to be talking about persuasion, influence. You could be look into the courses by Marshall Silver. There's several recommendations that I could give. These are just 3 of them that I like, that I would recommend that you could start looking at if you're really serious about really getting into it further than what we're talking about. But what we've talked here in this training and in this lesson are the most important things that you can use to subtly persuade your reader to take the action that they want, to stimulate their senses and to stimulate those needs and those wants and stimulate the motivation to taking the action you're asking them to take. Learn persuasion by studying successful sales copy. Where to look? Your email inbox. I've said this so many times. Look at the launches taking place that have a massive amount of affiliates flooding your inbox, and look at the sales copy of the product. If you start seeing a big launches going on, and this just continues on. Now, I'm not talking about a launch that starts out bang and then kind of diminishes here over the week and stuff. I'm talking about one that really keeps going strong. These are the ones that are getting good results for the affiliates and stuff already. So if your email box is flooded all week long, take a look at that sales copy. Study it. You can go to clickbank.com. Take a good look at the products that are selling the most on ClickBank. So look at their top selling products in different categories. Take a look at their sales pages and find out what they're doing in those sales pages that are causing you to want to take action. Take a look at the sales copy and model them. Don't copy them word for word, model them. I would highly recommend studying their sales copy. Really look for how they're using the art of persuasion. Look for the phrases that they're using to increase urgency and scarcity. Go back through this training and look at the things that we talked about. Look for these kind of things in the sales copy that you're reading. Look to see how they're being used, the phrases that they're using, what the effect is that it has on you at the time that you're reading it. If they're doing a good job, even though you're looking at it, you should still feel that what they're trying to get across. You should get to the point where you're starting to feel that, even though you know what you're looking for and what you should be feeling. But really take a look at the things that are out there now and find out what they're doing to be effective persuaders, and then you start using these yourself.